All right. So, any questions over anything we've done so far? Are y'all ready to start this? Hopefully. Okay. All right. So, what did we go over in chapter 1A? If you watched the video, then you know we went over a few common logical fallacies. Okay. Oh, I don't want this. No, turn that sound off. Okay. Okay, can y'all read that? Okay, so this is basically just your homework. I've just put it in the quizzes. So if you follow along with this and you write notes to this, then you should pretty much have most of your homework done. I think there's one problem in this homework that you might have to go and do on your own. What is this giving you? Okay, popularity. Apple's iPhones outsell all other smartphones, so they must be the best smartphone on the market. Is it giving you options to click on there?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so it should say like premise, conclusion, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you should be able to select two of those. One of them is a premise, one of them is a conclusion. Two of those should be correct. Did that give you enough time? That was not enough time, was it? Nobody answered that. Okay. Okay. Is it timing? I don't see it timing it now. This is my first time using quizzes for the class. So I'm like trying to figure it out.
It's still loading for me.
Is it still loading? It should have restarted the question.
I submitted my answers, but
Well, oh, there it is. Are y'all able to submit anything right now? What does it look like?
well, for me, it just says waiting for other answers.
Has everybody answered something?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's like probably one of two options, right? I think it's either the first and last one or it's the middle two. Just the way I have the questions written. I think for all of them, it's going to be pretty much like that. It's either like the first and last one or the middle two. Some participants haven't answered. If you need more time, you can yell at me. That is something you can do. But I think we're going to go on with this one. What does it say? Why is it showing? It's not showing anybody answered. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with this, but let's go over this question because that's long enough on this one. Apple's iPhones outsell all other smartphones, so they must be the best smartphones on the market. So the premise here is that they outsell other phones. The conclusion is the thing that they're trying to draw is that they are the best phone. And so again, these are logical fallacies. So like they shouldn't make sense, right? There should be something that's like going wrong. That's kind of awry with what they're saying. Can I move this around? No. Okay. Is this full screen? Here we go. Questions about this? Any comments about this? About why? Do you understand, hopefully, why this is the conclusion and why this is the premise? This is the overall statement that they're trying to make. This is what that statement is based off of. Okay. I think these are open response. I'm disable the timer. Okay, so I believe there was like an A, B, and a C on questions like 11, 13, and 15. And 17 might be on there too, I think. So this is appeal to popularity. It's the same one. I have a question on here? I don't see the question. Do y'all see the question? It should have a question on here. Do y'all see a part B on this thing?
Yes. It's a written response.
Okay. I should have logged in with my phone to see what the heck it was doing, which I could still do probably. I don't know why. It seems like it's cut off my quiz on me here. 195, 959. Oh no, it like cut off part of the, oh, there it goes. Briefly describe how the stated fallacy occurs in the argument. So how is this an appeal to popularity? Okay. I'm going to give you all a few seconds on this. Okay, so how's it an appeal to popularity? So the conclusion that they're drawing is that it's got to be the best smartphone. And they're drawing that because why are they saying that that they are the best smartphones?
Because they outsell other smartphones.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so that, I don't need to type something. What happens if I ever do this? I have no idea what's going to go on. Yeah, and this is just a straight up book answer, straight from what they gave me in the book. So the book says the fact that many people buy iPhones does not necessarily mean that they are the best smartphones. I just copied and pasted that twice, didn't I? It doubled it or duplicated it when I pasted it, apparently. Okay. So the fact that they sell the most doesn't mean that they are the best, right? And I think this is like the Dunkin' Donuts, right? Just because Dunkin' Donuts is selling the most coffee doesn't mean that they have the best coffee. Make up another argument that exhibits the same fallacy. So this, I know there's no response on the quizzes, but someone give me something. And these are fairly hard, if I'm being honest, right? These might take you a second to think about. I don't know. When I think about appeal to popularity, like the first thing that I think about is the whole bandwagon thing from Dare, right? Everyone's doing it.
Wait, where do we answer this? Do we just
It's
say
not. Yeah, there's no place to answer it on here. You should just
Oh.
answer it out loud. Someone tell me something.
so like just because or Starbucks sells the most coffee, so that's why they're the best.
Yep, that's fine. Anybody got any other examples? Someone give me one more example.
Dogs are better than cats because more people have dogs.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Okay, so let's go. That is like the last thing. So each of these, I think the first few of them are going to be divided into like A, B, C. I'm going to stop the timer on these. Okay. 13 is the appeal to. Is there a way to like not do that? Appeal to ignorance. Decades of searching have not revealed life on other planets, so life in the universe must be confined to Earth. Identify the premise in conclusion. So what are they saying and what are they basing it on is what you're trying to look at. Does it tell me who's answered?
Did you say that these were part of the homework problems?
Yeah, this is basically just straight from your homework.
Okay.
So if you wanted to write out your homework while we're doing this, that would probably be like a really good thing to do.
Okay.
Okay. I was about to say, well, I'm done, but that's probably a little bit unfair, right? Since I wrote everything and went through this class a few times. Trying to think of how to ask y'all for whether y'all need more time. I guess I can just ask y'all. There's also ways to raise your hand through Zoom. I don't know if y'all know. Should be a little button to raise your hand if you need more time too. Does anybody need more time on this one? All right. What? I don't know what's going on with this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't show people's responses.
It should be showing the responses on here, right? Is it showing you your response? Well, it says I got it correct. I don't know. Is it telling y'all whether you're getting them correct though, or is it telling you the correct solutions?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's the more important thing. Okay, so here our premise and conclusion are that first and last one. So what they're concluding is that there's no life. They're concluding that there's no life because there's no evidence of it, right? And so this is the appeal to ignorance. It's like, well, we don't have any evidence of it, therefore it doesn't exist. And so you're saying an absence of evidence is a proof of absence, which isn't the same thing, right? Okay, and this is part B. Briefly describe how the stated fallacy occurs in the argument. So how is this an appeal to ignorance? I think I kind of stated that a little bit, huh? Okay. And so I kind of stated this already. Like what they're saying is that like since there is no evidence, then they're trying to use that as evidence that it doesn't exist, right? I lost my connection to quizzes. That might that might explain why it's not working correctly. Okay. And so the book, what does the book say? Something along that line says something, just because you don't have evidence of it doesn't mean that you have evidence that it doesn't exist, right? Failure to find life on other planets does not imply that life does not exist on other planets, basically, right? Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. I think is another way that they sometimes say this, right? Whew. Okay. Any questions about this? Y'all are awfully quiet. Awfully quiet. Okay, so come up with your own example. Does someone think of an example that would fit this?
Just because we haven't seen aliens doesn't mean, or just because we haven't seen aliens, or wait, fuck.
Yeah, this one's hard. Yeah, that's kind of what their example was already. Was like life. Yeah, I guess it's
like aliens and like how they don't exist because we don't have no evidence of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but yeah, that's pretty similar to what they have. This one's a really kind of hard one to think about, you know. Besides, like maybe there's no library receipt, so therefore he didn't check out the book. I think was my examples in the notes, right? Something like that. Trying to think of like what I've heard this.
Your example for the video was since there's no record of a book withdrawal, then he didn't take the book.
Yep. I mean, yeah, and I'm trying. I just thought out of something kind of weird in my head, like if you go out to Chernobyl, right, or something like that, and you're like, well, I didn't record any radiation out there, therefore there is no radiation out there, right? You can make the same sort of argument to argue that there's no radiation in Chernobyl or something like that, right? Just because you didn't bring out a tool and didn't measure it doesn't mean that there's evidence that it's not there, right? Or something like that. A lack of evidence doesn't mean evidence that something is lacking. Okay. Yeah, so these, I don't know what else to say, like, but they are pretty hard to come up with these examples. They definitely make you think for a bit on part C. We're going to what, 9:30? Yeah, 9:35 is when this class ends. Okay. Any questions on this one? I hear this one come up in like theistic arguments too sometimes. Get out of my way. Okay. Next slide. Where's it? Oh, I gotta turn the sound off again. Okay. Sounds like some cross between the X-Files and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or something. Ah, now it's working. That's 1. 2. I guess my connection was just bad a while ago. I don't know what the heck they were doing. Who's the one? We got one person hadn't answered yet. That's probably me. Probably hadn't just submitted it. Okay, so if that one person, probably submit pretty quick. Let's see. There we go. What are we getting? Now it's showing some stuff. All right, so I think most of you got that. There's 2 people that are off on that. So the conclusion that they're drawing overall is, it says he refused to testify by invoking the 5th, so he must be guilty. So the overall thing that they're trying to state is that he must be guilty, right? And they're basing the guilt is based off of this, right? One of these things is based off of the other. So the thing that they're saying overall is the conclusion, which is he must be guilty, and the thing they're basing off of it is your premise. So the invoking the 5th would be his premise. And again, like, I'm writing all these problems out on quizzes and stuff. It is possible at some point I might actually like put the wrong solution in here. So for the quizzes, if you go to join my quiz and you enter this code, you should be able to join at any time when you come into class. It should let you in late. All right, so next slide is what, 13B? Oh, we're in 15 now, sorry. 15B. A timer. He refused to testify by invoking his 5th Amendment right, so he must be guilty. So they want you to describe how this is limited choice. So these these first couple of them, they kind of give us like what the fallacy is. And some of the later ones in this section, I will say, like, it's not super obvious like what fallacy it is. And if you gave me a different fallacy from what the book says on some of these later problems, as long as you can justify what you're saying, I think you're probably be in the clear as long as you can justify what you're saying and what you're saying makes sense, right? I think there's some overlap in these fallacies, right? It's a wrong way of thinking. Sometimes there's there's a middle guy in there sometimes, is what I'm trying to say. There's some overlap in those sets. There's multiple correct answers. That's probably the easiest way to say it, right? Okay. Yeah, you don't have to write me an essay in here, just some short words. If I'm being honest, these short responses aren't really even getting graded. They just give you credit for writing something, I think. All right, I think it's pretty good. If you got something, submit it. Let's proceed. Yeah, just because he doesn't talk means he's not guilty. Yeah, it seemed like you're like pretty much in the right spot. All right, so just because he doesn't talk doesn't mean he's got to be guilty. He could just be choosing not to talk. Maybe it's a corrupt system and it's a kangaroo court and he didn't want to get dragged through it. No telling. Okay, limited choice. This is the solution that they have in the book. Sorry. The conclusion is stated as if it were the only possible conclusion. So they say that he's got to be guilty. There's other options out there. He could be not guilty. He could be, I don't know. I guess you're either guilty or not guilty. You're not half guilty. But yeah, it could be that he's not guilty. So limited choice, what it does is it precludes other options. It limits your choice. So the next thing is to think about something that has that sort of fallacy in it. So can we think of an example that has this fallacy of limited choice? And this is also, if they give you two choices, sometimes they would call this a Fuss dichotomy. Di meaning like two, right? Dichotomy. Fuss dilemma would be another one that they call this. It's another common name for limited choice. So what's another example of limited choice?
Would it be if you don't drive a car, you drive a motorcycle?
Yeah, that's a good one. You're either driving a car or a motorcycle. And why is that a bad thing to say? Because there's other vehicles out there, right? I don't know. One of the more obvious things that kind of pops into my head is like the Fuss gender binary, right? You're either male or female. There are intersex people out there that exist that often get just like written off as like not existing sometimes. Okay. Any questions? Are we getting these? Hopefully you're like, I'm hoping like what you're doing while we're going through this quiz is I'm hoping you're like writing these down, right? I hope you write like your solutions down to the stuff that we're doing. I hope you're like working along and taking some notes with this. But for the most part, you could be getting your homework done right now, right? That's what I'm hoping. I hate music whenever like you're trying to do something. It's more distracting than it is anything else. I feel like when you hear that Jeopardy theme, it's just like -10 IQ points. Not fun. Senator Smith's bill on agriculture policy is a sham because he has accepted contributions from companies that sell genetically modified crop seeds. I'm going to disable this timer. Find your premise, find your conclusion. What's being said overall, that's going to be your conclusion. Why are they saying that? What are they basing things on? Those are your premises. And again, I know this is like kind of timed and stuff, but I think the way that like I've set things up, it's either going to be like the first and last one, or it's going to be like the middle two with your options, right? Those are the ones that are the different ones. Where are we at? Boom, 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 boom. All right. Ooh, quite a few people got this one wrong. Okay. So I think if we look at it this way, I think hopefully you can see why this is the correct setup, right? We're basing his agriculture policy, our opinion on his agriculture policy, on the fact that he accepted contributions. If we look at it this way, he accepted contributions. Did he accept contributions because of his agriculture policy being a sham? I think it has to be the other way around, right? This one is the one that's causing this one, not the other way around. So again, when we say like premise and conclusion, you can think about causal relationships. If you think about which one caused which, the premise should always sort of cause the conclusion to happen. Any questions on this one? On why it's not this? Okay. That was way too long on this one. Okay, so now we want to, they're saying this is a personal attack. So they want you to describe briefly, like, what is a personal attack? How does that relate to this problem? Can we see all these responses? I think y'all can see it because I'm projecting my thing, right? Yeah, I think most of these are kind of right there. Where we got 8 people answered. Yeah, I think it's not Maria. How do I pronounce her name? Is it Myra? Mayra?
Yeah, it's Maida.
Maida? Ah, that's neat. Okay. So I think you like kind of hit the nail on the head, right? So it's saying like his bill is a sham, and it's saying his bill is a sham because why? Because he accepted contributions. Like, I don't think it's completely incorrect to think that like maybe him accepting contributions might influence it, but right, it's also possible, right? It's possible that he could have a good agriculture bill, right? Him accepting money from a company doesn't necessarily make it a bad bill, is what they're trying to say. Something along those lines, right? And I think I probably said this, right? When we think about logic and we think about valid logic, we don't want it just to work one time in one situation, right? We want it to work all the time. And in this situation, right? do people that accept contributions from companies, is it necessary? Is it a necessary conclusion that they are going to write a bad agriculture bill? It's not, right? You could accept contributions and still write good bills. And so this doesn't work all the time. It's not something that works all the time. You can have an anomaly to the sort of situation being presented, right? Okay, so we went through that. Good enough. So I think the next slide is what the book's going to say, like that's straight the answer out of the back of the book, which is probably going to be in line with something I said. His personal behavior doesn't tell us anything about the bill. And that's what they're using to criticize the bill. So this is also like attack. Sometimes they say attack the point, not the person. So if they wanted to talk about his bill, right, they should actually come up with something, some sort of policy from his bill instead of talking about something unrelated to the bill, like him taking money. Okay, so we want to make up a personal attack argument. Now's your chance to insult someone. No, not really, but. So what would be a personal attack argument? Mm. Are y'all just trying to be too nice, or y'all just like completely blank? Are y'all sleeping on me? Did y'all fall asleep? Hopefully not.
I'm
Is it
thinking.
like she doesn't care about the turtles because she doesn't use metal straws?
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that's a good personal attack.
Could you say Donald Trump should pass or bill shouldn't be passed because he's racist?
Yeah, that's a good personal attack. Yeah, it doesn't actually say anything about his bill. Yeah. You know, one of my favorite sayings is the broke clock is right twice a day, right? Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about like, you know, like I don't know, just like there's the eccentric scientist, right? That's always like can't even dress himself, but he comes up with some kind of like scientific theory or something. You wouldn't reject his scientific theory on the basis that he can't even dress himself, right? Something like that. So like people can be really efficient in one area and not so much in another. So it becomes really easy to personally attack some people. I don't know. Okay, I think that's pretty good for that one. Unless there's any questions. If there's any questions, you can always stop me. Don't be afraid. The thing with that is, if you do have a question, there's at least 10 other people that also have the question, and they just don't want to ask it. They're too afraid. It really is true. I promise you. If you got a question, other people definitely have it. And if you ask it, they will have theirs answered. You will be their hero. Let me stop this timer. I feel like personally, maybe this isn't the way you see it. Personally, to me, like the conclusion is the easier thing to sort out. It's like the claim that's right on the face. It's like here's the conclusion, and then why are they saying that? That's your premise. I said it, and I'll probably get this one wrong. Not paying attention or something. It's usually my look. And really, there's like there's one word here that really jumps out that tells you what is what. Does anybody see the word that I'm talking about?
It's therefore.
Therefore, tells you what? I don't know
That's
who
the
this is.
conclusion.
That is your conclusion. So there's one person. I don't know who that is. Oh, there we go. All done. Congratulations. Oh man, that was divided down the middle. That's not good. I should be selecting two of these things. I don't know. Someone's selected one of them. So the conclusion that they're making is that your attendance should count. They're basing that on all the stuff that they're given, right? Good grades are needed to get into college, and a college diploma is necessary for a successful career. And then the conclusion is this. This one is a bit weird, maybe because it is a diversion. And when they do a diversion, you might notice like attendance should count in high school. They didn't mention attendance one damn time up here, right? It's like not zero. And then all of a sudden there's like attendance out of nowhere. It's like, whatever, weirdo. Okay, so they want you to describe how this is a diversion. I think they mean like a red herring, right? It's pretty much the same thing as the diversion is another common name. Yeah, I think I kind of hit it at why this is a diversion. Kind of threw it out there already, I think, for the most part. Okay. Give you all a few more seconds. The next slide. Here we go. What does the book say? The premise, which is often true, directs attention away from the conclusion. The premise, oh, that's copy and paste, double for some reason. Okay. So the premise was what? Directs attention away from the conclusion. So the conclusion was that what attendance should count, and then their premise said nothing about attendance, right? And so their premise is directing away from attendance. It doesn't say anything about attendance. That's what they're saying there. To make up another argument that exhibits the same fallacy, diversion. The sky is blue because birds fly, right? Something stupid. I don't know. Literally, like your premise has nothing to do with your conclusion. So I feel like there's quite a few things. Someone's saying something. Okay. Anybody have an example? Any examples for this one?
Could it be like my dog runs fast because she's a girl?
That's fine. Yep. Has little to nothing to do with the claim that you're making, right? That's basically it. What are we on? 25. Identify the premises and conclusions. Stupid timer. Okay, I ate oysters for dinner, and later that night I had a nightmare. Which one is causing which one? The one that causes things to happen is your premise. Did I get this one right? All right. So where are we at? Premise, conclusion. Okay, so I think most people are getting this one. So the thing that was the cause was the nightmares, right? What caused the nightmares was the eating of the oysters. And so since they ate oysters once and they got nightmares, they make this conclusion that like every time they eat. Who is, oh, okay. I think, never mind. Okay, yeah, okay. This one would make that 3 and 3. Wait, is that right? Yeah, okay, someone's answering twice, but I think they answered either like the last two or something. Okay. Ate oysters for dinner, and later that night I had a nightmare. Oysters caused my nightmare is your conclusion. What was the question? Explain why the argument is deceptive. And if possible, identify the type of fallacy it represents. So why is it deceptive? And then if you can remember the fallacies, you might have to open up your book and go look back at those, but to look at what the fallacies are. Every time I hear fallacies, I just hear Jesse Pinkman singing that song. This is one of those ones that I was talking about earlier. Like, there's a few different groups or a few different types of fallacies. You could probably give me a few different correct solutions as long as you justify it and you understand what the fallacy is. All right, so I know some people read, looks like. Or y'all are just looking in the back of the book, maybe. Okay, so some of y'all are getting at why it's false. Some of you are just telling me what the question says again, it looks like. And some people are it looks like responses are all over the place, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But it looks like a few of you are getting some of the stuff down. So it looks like some kind of learning of some sort's happening here, at least. I think there's one person that I hadn't answered because I got my stuff I hadn't answered. So if you're that one person, you might want to hurry up and hit the submit before I hit yes. But here we go. Oh, right there. I had the time. All right. So what does the book say? I think is the next thing. That's the next slide. The nightmare could have been caused by almost anything else. Actually, that's not. The book doesn't give a description. I think this is my description. The book says it's false cause, is what they're saying. And what false cause means is that you're attributing the wrong thing, right? So the nightmare is probably not caused by the oysters. It's probably caused by something else. And so it's assuming that something causes something that doesn't cause it, basically. I would also take hasty generalization might be this one. Like this happened once, so I assume it's going to happen all the time, right? That would also be another way you might be able to see this. I think someone said circular reasoning. I think you described circular reasoning very well. But I think the problem with saying that is that we don't necessarily know that the oysters cause the nightmare here, right? There's a little bit of a gap there with using circular reasoning, although you did explain it very well, and you showed me that you know what you're talking about, so I can't complain too much there. Any questions about this? They're awfully quiet, and that scares me because it's either a really good thing. You either don't have any questions or you don't know what question to ask. It's usually either one way or the other when people are really quiet. It's like you either know everything or you're just so lost. You're like, I don't even know where to start. And so I'm hoping it's the former, not the latter, right? Okay, so what does this one say? 27 says, all nurses in Belvedere Hospital are women. Therefore, women are better qualified for medical jobs. Woo, everyone got that one. Okay, okay, all right. Except someone only answered once. What are y'all doing? I think they fixed it on the last one. Someone's been doing that. I'm gonna go see who did it. I go look at your scores afterwards too and see who did that. And I'm gonna come back yell at. No, I'm not gonna do that. Explain why it's deceptive. And this is also that one, if you can give the type of deception that it is, why, what type of fallacy it is, then they want to know that. They want to know why it's deceptive and what type of fallacy that follows. I like the diversion one. That's pretty good. That's good reasoning. I could see why you'd say that. I think we're getting pretty close to like. Tell me to slide 26. I think I got, yeah, a few more. Okay. Trying to think of how many problems are on here. I think there's 32 slides in all. Yeah, okay. I think we got time. Trying to make sure we don't run out of time.
I'm Professor.
Oh yeah, what's happening?
Oh yeah, Sergio texted us in the group chat that his computer died, so that's why he kind of left.
Okay. Yeah, sorry that happens. Yeah. I mean, I try to do the best I can to try to work around those sorts of issues. So I put the class up. There will be a class recap. You can go. Well, he's coming back in. Okay. I saw someone else it looked like was having issues with connectivity too. So yeah, I mean that's part of the reason why I put the lectures up. I know it's like, I don't know, like I have a hesitancy to want to put the lectures up if I'm being honest, because it promotes people to not pay attention and stuff, and it promotes people to not come to class. But that's everyone answered. That one person was me that didn't answer. But yeah, I'm sorry that stuff happens to y'all. I know, like, y'all are the real MVPs. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it just like amazes me like how much stuff has happened in the last year, and y'all are all in your senior years, or not all of y'all, but most of you here, I think, are in your senior year. There's a lot of weight on y'all's shoulders. I don't know what to say other than that, but yeah. So that was 27. I think most of you were like dancing around pretty correct conclusions about things. But this one, the book says it was hasty generalization. So if we read it and think about how it's a hasty generalization, is we're looking at nurses in like one hospital. And we're trying to say that about nurses all over the place in every hospital, right? And so they're looking at this one example and they're trying to generalize it for every example. Does that make sense why they're calling it hasty generalization? Anybody have any questions on why they're saying that? And again, like I would say, Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you could probably say. I really like the diversion one. It was really pretty well explained. Being a female doesn't necessarily make you a better or worse nurse, right? There's two different sort of criteria that we're looking at. Yeah, let's disable that. Senator is a member of the NRA, so I'm sure she opposes the ban on large capacity magazines for ammo. Is this the premise? This is the premise conclusion one, huh? So we're doing. So which one are they basing off of which one? You could say, I think of this because of this, right? And what you're saying is like, I think of this conclusion because of this premise. Okay. Try to pick things up a little bit. There's one person out there. I don't think it's me. Did I select it? I think we're going to go through. Did I pick the wrong one? All right, so it looks like most people are getting this right. So you're assuming that she opposes a large capacity ban. You're assuming that because she's a member of the NRA. Okay. Is this where we're describing what's wrong, I believe? And again, I believe there's probably a few things you could get me on here. I would probably say I don't remember what the book says. I have to look at the next slide. Oh, why are you losing your connection? Come back up. I think the machine's figured me out. They're starting to work against me. Hmm. If I reload this, is it going to mess everything up? There we go. Now I can see your responses. That's what I need to do. It not only didn't mess things up, it made things better. How about that? Straw man, that's a good way. I think y'all looked in the back of the book for that one. Maybe not. Maybe you got that on your own. Yeah, I would have said personal attack personally. It seems like maybe a personal attack. Just because she's part of the NRA doesn't mean that she's going to agree with the ban on the gun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we need to get going with this one. I'm going to probably go ahead and end the question and get through these a little bit. I would have said personal attack probably, but I think they said straw man, right? Those have both been kind of right on the hitting the nail on the head. Straw man, you're not actually arguing about whether or not she opposes the large capacity magazine ban. You're just arguing about whether or not she's a member of the NRA. The book said straw man. I probably would have said personal attack, right? Her being a member of the NRA is like more of her personal sort of life. It doesn't necessarily dictate what she's going to do with like the laws that she writes. And like, I know a lot of these are like, well, she's part of the NRA. She's probably going to support, or she's probably going to oppose a ban. Sorry. Like it is. This isn't necessarily like an irrational way to sort of think about things, right? Like this indicates that she might have a bias that to oppose large capacity magazines. But the thing is, the reason why it's a fallacy is because this is not a necessary conclusion, right? We can have other things that happen. She can be a member of NRA and still not oppose a ban, or yeah, she's opposing the ban. It is like one of those things I had to think about how many negatives. Opposing a ban is in support of the large capacity. Ooh, it's a double negation. I think we'll go over that in the next section. Questions about this? Okay. Next slide. I think we only have a few more questions. We're getting there at the end of class. You hush. Consider the following fallacies which are not discussed in the text. Explain why the fallacy applies to the example and create your own argument that displays the same fallacy. So cut off. She could be a member of the club and still wait. Ooh, wrong slide. It cuts it off. Why does it do that? Okay. The slippery slope fallacy has this form. Premise: X has occurred and it related to Y. Y will inevitably occur. America has sent troops to 3 countries recently. Before you know it, we will have troops everywhere. So in essence, I think like you're basically just kind of explaining why that's wrong, right? I'm just going to jump to it. Someone explain to me why this is wrong. We're getting right there at the end of class. I don't want to spend much more time on this. Is this just the last problem? I think there's one more, huh? 45. Okay, so 45 is the last problem, I believe. So this is a problem you're going to have to go do some research on your own a little bit. You're going to have to look at those 5 criteria that they give you in the book. And so 45 is going to be one of those problems you're going to have to go out there and do on your own. But I want to go back to 43 and talk about 43 right quick. What does it say? Explain why the fallacy applies to the example. Why is this a slippery slope? If you send troops to 3 countries, pretty soon we're going to send them to every country. And then create an example of your own. Oh man, such a horrible example in my head. Okay. Why is that a slippery slope? This is the last thing y'all got to answer for me. What y'all doing?
Is the slippery slope fallacy kind of like false cause? Because it's saying that Y will inevitably occur.
Kind of. I feel like false cause is that you're attributing something that is not causing it to happen, right? It's like I flicked a light switch and it thundered outside, right? And so then I'm going to conclude that flicking the light switch caused the thunder outside. That would be like lost. That would be like a false cause. Slippery slope is more like I'm thinking like a bunch of different examples, and they're all kind of they're all pretty risque, to be honest. It's like the gateway drug argument is a good slippery slope, right? If you try pot or if you try alcohol, then you're going to try these other drugs, right? Is kind of how it goes. But like the problem with that is that like people can absolutely try drugs or try just pot or just alcohol, right? And not try harder stuff. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to go on to harder stuff. And like if you look at the evidence, I think it kind of supports that more. The people that do harder drugs also do the lighter drugs, right? It's not the other way around to where these things kind of predispose you to. Yeah, like well, if we legalize abortion, yeah, then there won't be any babies born anymore. That would be a good slippery slope. The other one I was thinking about, like, you know, with marriage, with marriage equality for the longest time, people are like, well, if we allow men and men to marry and we allow women and women to marry, then pretty soon we're gonna have to allow people to marry animals. And it's like, whoa, I think you just admitted a little too much to me there about yourself. But yeah, that's another slippery slope argument, right? If we allow marriage between the same sex, that we're gonna have to allow marriage to it's right? It's this thing that like I don't know. You're saying something more drastic is going to happen, basically, and there's no reason to believe it. The more drastic thing is going to happen. Does that make a little more sense? Hopefully, like the false cause is you're actually attributing something to it that didn't make it happen. But this one, you're making a conclusion beyond what you can really conclude. You're making it seem more drastic than it is.
So I'm not sure if this would make sense, but if I like red, then I have to like all the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah, that's a really weird way. Yeah, but I mean, I think that makes sense a little bit. Like, yeah, if you like one of the colors, well, then you gotta like all the colors. Yeah. If I allow this is a bad way to argue about homework. There's a good way to argue about homework too. But if I allow you to turn it in late this once, then I'm gonna have to allow you to turn it in late all the time, right? That's also a slippery slope argument. Yeah. Anybody get questions? I think we're 5 minutes over now, aren't we?
I have some questions over the homework.
Okay.
I forgot. How do we check what questions we have to do for the homework?
Okay, so the questions, let's go to Blackboard. The questions list is under, you're in 001 here. So the question list itself should be like right here with the syllabus.
Oh, yeah, because
If we look at these problems, these are the problems that we went over today in class. They are coming straight out of your textbook. So if you want to go look at the homework problems in the textbook, and if y'all got to burn out, like I know it's already past class. If y'all got to burn out and go somewhere, I understand. It's already past the class time. And in general, like if it gets past class time and y'all got places to go, like I understand, like if you got to get out of here and it's past class time. But anyway, accessing your book, you're going to go to your book and you're going to go to the back of the book for these exercises. We went over all these in class except for 45. You're going to have to do a little bit of work on your own on that one, I think. But it shouldn't take you too long. I'm not asking for an essay on that one. I just want you to write a short response. But if I go to chapter 1A, you can click exercises and you can just jump like right to the exercises. And so here's your exercises. So I'm not really expecting you to write out the problem in its full. If you just want to write out basically like, as long as you number your problems, right? I have the problem written out for me. So apparently I accidentally highlighted some stuff, but yeah, so these are the problems that I'm putting into the quizzes that we did with the quizzes. Any other questions? So I'm expecting you to, I guess, do this homework, write it out, take a picture with your phone, right? That was the other thing. Take a picture with your phone when you do the homework, and then you're going to come in here to written assignments. What is that thing? Genius Scan, that's what it was. Can't remember Genius Scan. You're going to come over here. You're going to click on chapter 1A. I think it lets me do it. You're going to say browse local files, and you're going to find the file on your computer and upload it. So you should upload your homework into here, into written assignments. Did that answer the question? Hopefully.
Yes, thank you.
All right, good deal. Any other questions?
On the book, it says there's a practice quiz. Do we do those too?
Practice quiz. What are you talking about?
Oh, well, not in the book, but when you open
The test. Is that what you're talking about?
no, when you go to the link, well, where it says course materials, and you go to launch. I don't know what it says.
All right, let me go to your view. I'm going to go to course materials, and where are you talking about the test? Did y'all have a practice exam to work through?
No, it's because when you open the book, it has these practice quizzes. Let me see if I can find it.
I think you're talking about the quick quiz. Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe.
Yeah, there's a little quick quiz that like is a little review of the chapter. No, we're not doing quick quizzes. We're doing the exercises. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a
thank
good
you.
question. I didn't even think about y'all confusing them. Analyzing fallacies. There's a few fallacies that they introduce here too that might be worth noting. I don't know if I'm going to put them on any test per se, but they will be on the test of life. How about that? These will pop up again and again, right? Gambler's fallacy. We'll actually talk about the gambler's fallacy later when we talk about probabilities and statistics. Slippery slope, middle ground fallacy. This one seems to be coming up lately in reality, but unless there's any questions, I guess that's all I got for y'all today. I'm going to stop share here. I'm going to stop recording.